Heyo! So I'm doing a how I increase my speed of note taking by using shorthand. This has been a curated and developed skill. It definitely wasn't an overnight thing, and at the beginning I used very basic ones, and then just kind of developed it further as note taking became more intense and lengthy. So keep in mind some things are going to be different for you. Some things will work for me that don't work for yourself, and that's totally okay. But these are things that I use very often, and I'm also going to give some examples as well. So as you can see, this is one side of the paper and this is the other side. These are just a few of the few as in ones that came up during my note taking. I'm currently on reading week, so I've been doing a lot of note taking for this week. I'm only on day 2, but I wrote down the ones that I was finding I was using or that came up a lot. The thing is that this one here, the with the little like line, is based on a version of shorthand that is used. I will probably put it on the screen here as in what it's based off of, but it was just the one that made the most sense, and I looked up a different resource for it in order to gauge some new ideas. Honestly, I just got lazy, and the ones that I initially started out with were because, with, slash within, reaction was another one that I did a lot of the time, and prots with proteins. Stuff like that was really basic, and I honestly just kind of shortened stuff up and gave it so that I had a very consistent note-taking style. The was literally the most recent and took me the longest, I believe, to implement, just because the is such a reoccurring word that I would find myself just being like, the, no, wait, and then I would try it to do it consecutively, and then it would just build up. And that was maybe within the past 2 or 3 weeks. So again, it's really basic stuff that you just kind of have to make a habit out of. But yeah, so like, because I'm a science student, I have stuff like synthesis, eukaryote, bacteria, mutation, single strand, double strand, fragments. Also, the one that also has cut down a lot is the and different symbols. If I have more mathematic stuff kind of going on or formulas, I use this version of and if it's just with regular words, I use the plus. So therefore is more of a like a thus or just a blanket statement that is just explaining what the line of thinking is. Transcription, translation, these also, like, a lot of stuff I do honestly just depends on context. But these are just a few examples of what I use a lot. Well, another one that I've been using a lot is invol, which equals involves, or like involve, that kind of thing. Det is determine, sev, several, between. Really, I'm just taking out a lot of vowels, but making sure that it's a consistent note-taking style. Proton, electron, neutron, primary, secondary, solution. Stuff like that is stuff I use a lot of the time, and really it's just finding things that cut down on your time, and really it does make it easier when it comes to really long notes. So I'm going to give some examples of things for note taking. So, for instance, why does DNA replication involve multiple replication sites in eukaryotes but not in bacteria? So it's stuff like that that just really cuts it down. And if you're using a consistent, like if you're talking about a certain element, I honestly just use the element's name, not the full writing of it. Or if it's a certain amino acid residue, I just do the 3-letter code as opposed to the 1-letter code, because I find it gets a little bit confusing with like if you're using K for lysine, it might also mean potassium. It really depends on the context, but these are just kind of ways in which it's been done. This one's not as great of a, so what's it called, example. So as you can see, there's a ton of, there we go, that's a little bit better. There's a ton of like these little dashes. It can get a little confusing when there's a, what's it called? A parentheses for the statement that I'm using. But really, if you have it, again, it's just context. You just have to kind of get used to it. Obviously, like things like this, like conversion, retinal, isomer, you kind of can't do a ton or cutting it down, but really it's just the things that are really, really repetitive that take up precious time. Even though if it's like a few seconds, it's still going to be enough to like keep a flow going, especially if you're taking lecture notes during class. I like to prepare stuff like this beforehand, but that's just me. So if you can see here, I write my notes and then I write my lecture notes on this side, and it really does help to have the shorter forms of everything. This is just, I forgot in this portion that I need to make space, but I continued on for a lot of that, which is nice. But yeah, this is something I just wanted to briefly discuss because I find that it's really helpful, especially when you are, you know, just writing stuff for hours and hours and hours and prepping everything. It just makes it so much easier to get stuff down quickly and efficiently. But yeah, that's all I had for today. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully this helps. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!